Hi, everyone. Welcome to First Things First. It's Tuesday morning here in New York City. I'm Jenna Wolf. That's the Hall of Famer, Chris Carter.
Nick said he didn't like the way I started the show yesterday. We had a little meeting and everything. So today I'm okay.
What did you improve from yesterday to today? What got better?
General disposition.
Oh, I thought he was very well disposed.
We don't need to
This is what I did. I changed my expectations for Nick. I dropped them down. And now I'm cool. I'm like, okay. This is where I
she started the show off with 2 lies.
Yeah.
This is usually Jenna Wolf's corner. So now today, Jenna, I would expect you to analyze how guys are running routes precisely. We can all change corners.
Done and done. Look at the size of my hand.
Nick. Eat that.
And hold the L.
There you go, Jenna. Good to see you this morning.
That was so awkward. Big show today. LeBron still talking about who will be joining him next season. Hall of Fame enshrinee Ed Reed will be sitting right there. We'll get him a chair. But we start with the New York Giants' insistence of a plan this coming season. You know, the one that nobody can really see except General Manager Dave Gettleman. All right, so the Giants made big news after trading Odell to the Browns a week ago. They made head-scratching news sticking with their 38-year-old quarterback, and yesterday they put it all together for the most interesting news of all, the reasons why. On a conference call with the media, Gettleman addressed it all, starting with Odell.
After much discussion, we just believed this was in the best interest of the New York Football Giants. I want everybody to know this was purely a football business decision. There's no intrigue. There's no he said, she said, none of that stuff. So let's not waste time with those types of questions after the fact. Some have questioned why we signed Odell and then traded him. As I said publicly twice, we didn't sign him to trade him, but obviously things changed. And frankly, what changed is another team made an offer we couldn't refuse. This narrative that Eli's overpaid and can't play is a crock. I'm telling you. So at the end of the day, you guys got to say Gettleman's out of his mind or he knows what he's talking about when he evaluates players. That's really what it is. That's really where it's at. And I'm okay. If you disagree with me, that's fine. But what I'm telling you is if you turn around and you take a look at what he's making right now and look around the league and see what quarterbacks are making, all right, if you were in my shoes, you'd say, you know what, there really is not. The way he finished the season and what he's making, there really wasn't a decision to make. Really and truly, Pat, you know, very, very honestly, it's not my responsibility to tell you guys what I'm doing. That is not just like it's not my responsibility to respond to every rumor that comes down the pike. That's not my job, okay? It's not my responsibility. Trust me, we got a plan. And over time, you know, you've got to be patient. You know, everybody wants answers now. We live in an instant gratification society, instant gratification world, and everybody wants answers now. Over time, you'll see it. You got to trust it.
I think more so than wanting answers now is I think fans, media want answers, period. All right, Gettleman addressed a number of different things. Odell, Eli, the overall plan. Let's start with Odell, CC. Are you buying the Giants calling the Odell trade a business decision?
Oh, yeah, they can always say that because what's good for business? And can they trust the player? And they felt basically for the New York Football Giants and their brand to move forward, it was best for them from a football standpoint, because that's the business they're in. So I put everything into that. When you say a football decision, yeah, football means their character too. Are they going to be at practice? Are they reliable? Also, are they a good football player? Are they good in the locker room? So those are all good football decisions. There is no off the field in professional football. Once you start playing professional, you're on the clock 24/7. So I can understand exactly what he's saying. But he's not telling the truth. Because if he was telling the truth, when Odell, since he's been there, basically, he's tried to trade Odell. He approached it last offseason with his friend John Dorsey with the Browns. Like they were talking about it. Now Dorsey was a little consumed with trying to get Baker Mayfield or the right quarterback, but they had conversations. You can read it. They talk about them talking about this deal in last year's combine, not this year's combine. So I can't believe everything that he's saying, but he is right. It's not his job to tell us every move that he's doing. But for a long, long time, he's tried to trade Odell Beckham, and Odell felt like he was going to get traded. He felt like he couldn't make New York a home. So did he make some mistakes along the way? Yes. If I want to revisit history, yes, he did. But Dave Gettleman, I don't believe he's telling the truth here 100%.
When we get to the Eli part, I don't think he's telling the truth on Eli either, but that might be above his pay grade. The Eli stuff might be over his head.
No,
and
it is above his head.
Okay.
I mean, it's fairly obvious. The last coach that was there benched Eli. How long did he last with the Giants?
He got fired a few weeks later.
Right. The general manager can't do that because the general manager was fired also.
And so the point I'm making is, if you, and we'll get to the Eli stuff, if you can't tell the truth on Eli, then it would behoove you greatly to tell the truth on Odell Beckham. And the idea that Odell getting rid of, you got an offer you can't refuse, you got a Godfather offer, so you got the 17th pick. The Browns had 2 third-round picks. They gave you the worst of the 2 and a first-round safety they had given up on, saying, we looked at this like 2 first-round picks because once upon a time, Jabril Peppers was a first-round pick. Once upon a time, Trent Richardson was the 3rd overall pick of a draft. He's in the AAFL now. Like, that's silliness. This wasn't a, oh my God, I can't believe the offer we just got. This wasn't someone coming, the RG3 in the trade, in the draft offer where it's 3 firsts, 2 seconds, a third. It's like, we have no choice. That's just nonsense. And the idea that the New York Giants will be better on the field without Odell Beckham, all evidence points to the opposite. In games he's played, they've won 50% more than games he hasn't. Eli's been a better quarterback with him on the field. They've scored more points with him on the field. We know that they're better as a football team with Odell Beckham, and we know they didn't get what the Steelers got for Antonio Brown, 30 cents on the dollar, but they certainly didn't get 100 cents on the dollar for Odell Beckham Jr. We know that.
And you have to assume that if the Eli situation was above Gettleman's head, maybe the Odell one was, well, maybe that was a merit decision as well. But let's get to the Eli. What did you make of what Gettleman said about Eli and how the fact that they don't think he's worth it as a 38-year-old quarterback is a crock?
Well, the thing about it, when he talks about the money part, and you say you look around the NFL, Eli Manning, you're paying that number. Nick has that exact number, what, 23 million?
He's the 7th highest cap hit amongst all quarterbacks, 23.2 million.
So you can look at it cap or you can look at it real dollars. They don't look at it as if they're spending too much on the quarterback because of their overall respect for him. That would have to be what it is, because he hadn't been a Pro Bowl level quarterback for at least 5 years, probably longer than that. So I can understand when an organization, because this is not about how good is he right now. Kobe Bryant at the end of his career, man, he demanded every single dollar from the Lakers. How much was he making at the end, Nick?
What, over $35 million.
And he wasn't nearly the player, but he wasn't going to take a discount either. It was for time served. Now, him and Kobe are not in the same stratosphere as far as athletes, but relationship to an organization, that's what's important here.
It's a Lifetime Achievement Award.
This is the Mara family. This is what they've decided to do with Eli. They don't want Eli playing for another team. They want him retired New York Giant, and they feel like Eli and all those others that were responsible for those 2 championships, he's got much respect for them. The family does. So that's all this is right now.
And I understand that part of it, but even there, when he says, look at what other quarterbacks are making. Well, I just told you. It's the 7th highest cap hit amongst quarterbacks. Now, it is $17 million in salary, but so we can do cash versus cap, all that. I understand that, because part of that's the signing bonus that's been prorated. When he says, look at how Eli played it over the end of the year. Well, what sample are we talking about? The final 3 games where he had 3 touchdown passes and 6 turnovers? That can't be what you're talking about. Are you talking about the final 8 games of the season where he was better than the first 8 games but still bad? Like, we know what Eli is. The idea that Eli is old and at this point a well below average quarterback is not a crock. It is the facts we have been leading to over the last 5 years. Eli Manning, the year before Odell got there, had the lowest passer rating in football and the most interceptions in football. He then had a 3-year period that you could argue was the best 3 years of his career, in large part because Odell Beckham Jr. was on the field with him, and Odell was healthy in those 3 years. Since Odell's been out of the lineup all of 2 years ago and part of last season, Eli